So I've done a lot of videos on EVs, electric vehicles, and the general kind of consensus that I come to in my opinions of it is that one of the biggest issues for consumers is that EVs are too expensive. But according to this report, according to this data that I found here, apparently used EVs are now cheaper than their petrol or diesel equivalents, which I find stunning. But let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at the data on here. So HPI data shows that the average retail prices of EVs are cheaper than petrol or diesel vehicles by around 8.5% at 3 years and rising to 14% at 4 years. So if it's a 2-year-old used EV or diesel or petrol car, it's around 8.5% cheaper to buy the EV. And for 4-year-old cars, that's for 3-year-olds. For 4-year-old cars, it's 14%. That's what the stats are claiming. With over 1.1 million battery electric cars on the UK's roads, HPI, a vehicle history check and valuation specialist, is offering motorists a handy new guide to buying their first EV. New EVs are commonly more expensive than the closest petrol and diesel equivalents, however. Used EV values have fallen sharply in the past 2 years to provide motorists with a bargain. A used EV represents a big saving over the new price. On average, values of used EVs for cars at the same age and mileage point have halved in value since September 2022. For models such as the Jaguar I-Pace, Mercedes EQC and Tesla Model X, this can equate to well over £20,000 less than in the summer of 22. And for cars like the Porsche Taycan, this is up to £40,000 less. That's more than the vast majority of new cars, full stop, making previously unobtainable cars a real option for more consumers. That is stunning. And I actually know one of my good friends actually has recently got an EV, a used EV, and said it was cheaper than getting the petrol or diesel. It's weird how this conversation comes up this week and this article gets published this week. Incredible timing, really. But yeah, I was stunned when she said that. I was like, no, that can't be true. And she told me how much it was, and I'm like, that's less than mine. Mine's a petrol car. That's way less. And it's a big SUV. Well, it's a compact SUV. It looks big to me, though. I'll be honest, bigger than my car. Chris Plum, who's an EV specialist at HPI, said the following: "The growing availability of second-hand electric models is driving demand as motorists want to reduce their environmental footprint and make significant motoring cost savings due to high diesel and petrol prices." That's the thing as well. I mean, that is the big advantage to an EV, the fact that it's so much cheaper to run. You don't have to pay road tax, and you also have a lot less to pay in terms of the actual fuel bills for it. Don't know what the insurance is like, I'm not sure, but that's more based off the value of the car, so you'd think it would be higher, unless it's this, which is actually cheaper apparently. However, switching from traditional petrol and diesel vehicle motoring to electric isn't a like-for-like swap, and certain factors should be taken into consideration before going ahead. The fundamental consideration is that a vehicle can be charged. If charging the car at home or a nearby EV ownership is possible, homeowners with a off-street parking will almost certainly fall into this category, because there is nothing to prevent them from installing a domestic charge point and topping up the battery overnight. It's also the cheapest way to charge an EV. If on-street parking and charge points are close by at work, then there is still every chance an EV will suit. If home street or work-based charging are not really available, then an EV may not be a realistic choice just yet, which is fair enough really. If you're lucky enough to have your own parking spot, it's great, but if you're living in a block of flats, then yeah, not the best option probably. Some things you should probably keep in mind as well. I'll just go through these before we end the video. Charger costs. Installing a wall box is worth adding to the overall budget for the car. It costs around £800 to £1,000 for a home charge point, although energy suppliers are increasingly offering EV-specific tariffs, which sometimes include a home charger bundled with the package, avoiding an upfront payment. Salary sacrifice schemes, where employees give up a portion of their earnings in exchange for a new or used car. These schemes sometimes include a wall box as an added incentive to switch to a zero-emissions car. The vehicle history. When buying a used EV, it's essential to understand their history. The HPI check report will flag anything worrying before information held by the vehicle by finance insurance companies, the DVLA, the police and other industry bodies. So yeah, do your due diligence basically, that's what I was saying. A comprehensive HPI check is the most important check before buying a used car and is the first line of defense against a vehicle being involved in fraud. So there we go guys. Apparently, according to the stats, these used EVs are cheaper than their diesel or petrol equivalents. Who knew? I didn't. I never would have guessed that. I am sure you will have a very civilized and coherent discussion in the comments section about this, which I'm happy to engage with. Also, make sure to subscribe, follow, and ring the bell as well to get much more motoring news, reviews, and everything in between here on the motoringchronicle.com.